Migrant crisis is on the rise, and the people are mad that the migrant crisis is continuing to. Wrong one. People are mad that the migrant crisis is continuing to overwhelm the United States of America.
New from overnight, the suspect charged in an attack on police officers in Times Square is back in court on new charges.
This time he's accused of shoplifting in Queens. CBS News' Christina Fan joins us live from outside Queens County Criminal Court in Kew Gardens with the latest on this case. Christina.
Chris and Mary, good morning. As you guys just mentioned, one of the suspects wanted in connection to the Times Square assault is now being accused by police of being a part of a group of people that beat up and assaulted an employee at a Queens Macy's department store while trying to shoplift nearly $600 worth of clothing. It is also raising questions, including from Governor Hochul, why he was released from custody in the first place. 19-year-old Darwin Andres Gomez Iskel was back in court Thursday, this time in a different borough and on new charges, accused of being the lookout for a group of shoplifters at the Macy's in Queens Center Mall. Police say this alleged crime happening just weeks after he was accused of grabbing and kicking officers in Times Square.
So basically, these dudes has formed gangs. They have formed like whole groups of evil people that's going around and terrorizing New York City. You have a new community of people that has come into your city. They have no real names. You don't know what their background is. We don't know their father, their mother. We don't know their lineage. We can't trace them back to anywhere. And they are in the city, destroying the city.
The law needs to change. Those who assault New York City police officers need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Gomez Iskel was charged with second-degree assault and released following the attack on cops, only to be picked up again Wednesday for robbery and petty larceny. Governor Hochul argues that current bail laws would have allowed for Gomez Iskel to be held on Rikers Island after his first arrest, if the DA had requested it, which he did not.
I said all along that I thought that bail should have been requested, given the severity of what they did.
Gomez Iskel isn't the only suspect circling the law's revolving door. Law enforcement sources tell CBS.
Y'all know that that's the hotel where they staying at, right? That right there is their residence. That's the hotel that they staying at.
Too, that his co-defendants, Kelvin Servita Arocha and Wilson Juarez, were taken into custody by ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, after they were also released without bail. But freed from custody now is Yohenry Brito, accused of instigating this whole fight. He made his $15,000 bail after spending a week on Rikers Island.
We've always made it clear that the small number of people who are repeated offenders should be addressed accordingly.
How do these guys get 15 bands in bail money? That's all I want to know. How do migrants that don't have jobs get 15 bands in bail money? Listen, y'all can't even, most Americans can't come up with $500 to $1,000 in an emergency. They not even sitting in jail. If they not getting released, they coming up with bail money. If they not getting released, they coming up with bail money.
And the Manhattan District Attorney's Office says most of the suspects charged and arrested in connection to the Times Square assault are expected to be due back in court tomorrow. That would be Friday. For now, reporting live from Queens Criminal Court, Christina Fan, CBS 2 News.
Christina,
We don't have the tax base to handle it. It's a money pit, and you guys are responsible for our
Somebody
money.
said that's only $1,500 bond. Yeah, because you're paying 10%. Where you get $1,500 from? You ain't got no job, Tommy. You ain't got no job, Tommy.
Money. Don't screw it up. You guys are famous for screwing things up.
Really intriguing story. This is a neighborhood, a town just west of Denver, Colorado. Frustration on this border matter boiling over at that city council meeting. Residents say their hard-earned tax dollars are going toward migrants and that resources are simply being overwhelmed. Alicia Cunha in Denver on this tug of war and where it goes next. Good morning.
Good morning, Bill. Yeah, the crowd was at capacity at the Lakewood City Council meeting last night. This is a community of roughly 154,000 people, about 7 miles west of Denver. And folks who live in that suburb came out to voice concerns over actions they say their city is taking amid worry it could lead to an influx of immigrants. This as the city voted on a housing plan and whether or not to accept a $9.3 million grant for a, quote, navigation center for the unhoused.
You're going to incentivize something that you're not going to be able to deal with long term.
Citizens of Lakewood are drowning, and you're all talking about adding more water.
Everybody's taxes are going to end up going up, and the crime is going to become incredible, just like.
So part of what people don't understand, because they look at the big number and they say, oh my God, $9+ million, you know, this money can come in. What y'all don't realize is that the true cost of these migrants coming into y'all cities is exorbitant, probably north of 50, 60, 70 million dollars, short and long term, because you also got to take into consideration resources, social services, schooling, crime, when they commit crimes, resources in order to house them, jails, 3 hots and a cot, unsustainability and being able to continue to fund this, because you got to get the money from somewhere. See, a grant is a one-time payment. It's not something that allows for you to be able to sustain. And so what happens is, well, you got to get the money from somewhere. So first you cut resources. And when you can't cut anymore, you cut it all the way to the bone. You don't recruit any more police officers. You can't do anything else. Well, what do? You tax the people more. And so it then becomes a burden on you, society, for you to continue to help these people be and do the things that they're not supposed to be here being and doing in the first place. And so this is the conversation that a lot of people don't have. They say, well, it ain't my money. What do I care? Yes, it is. And you're going to be paying more as a result of it. See, when we were having a conversation with Mr. House, and the fact that property taxes is so high over in Dalton, despite the fact that they have, it's not a really, really big, significant town, that tells you all that you need to know as far as the mismanagement of the city. When you see a lot of these places and they have an exorbitant amount of property taxes, but they have the most terrible services and the leadership that's running it, is a reflection on the leadership. And a reflection on the leadership is also allowing for taxpayer dollars to go towards things that's not beneficial for the people. It's bad enough that they're dealing with inflation. It's bad enough that they're dealing with stuff that's happening in their communities. It's bad enough that we don't have enough police on the streets in order to prevent crime, or at least divert crime, or prevent people from performing crime, because they know that they're going to get caught. Now they got to deal with the fact that they have an influx of people in here committing crimes. Then your tax dollars is not only going to go towards funding them to be in here, but also to prosecuting them and catching them and all of this stuff. And we already ain't even got enough police that's on the street in the first place.
New York City.
Council members say the proposed 100-bed navigation center would serve as a transitional home, providing job training and addiction and mental health services, mostly for those already in Lakewood.
Worse, both the housing plan and a navigation center and any other social resource may in fact support people who have immigrated here. I cannot build a wall between us and Denver. That's not City Council's job.
Lakewood City Manager says they have had one informational meeting with Denver officials on how Lakewood can help with Denver's homeless and migrant overcrowding, and said there are no concrete plans to provide housing or services to those populations. Lakewood City Council meeting went on for 7 hours, and late into the night, the proposed navigation center grant was accepted with a vote of 10-1. Bill?
And they still accepted it, knowing that long term, this is absolutely going to destroy what's happening in your community.